You got Alcoholics Anonymous, you got Narcotics Anonymous, and now we need Devils Anonymous. Everybody under 540 on the scale of human consciousness is a devil. Now, if you're at 450, you might be a devil that can build an enormous bridge. You could be an engineer, a good one, but you're still a devil. It's not until you get to 540 on the scale, unconditional love, that you're no longer a devil. And then there's still more that you got to do to get up to 600. And at 600, you're considered what's known as the spiritual title, you're a perfect. So if you've been waiting for Mr. or Mrs. Right, maybe you should change it to Mr. or Mrs. Perfect. Then you're going to have to learn muscle testing on the scale of human consciousness. And you can get that from David R. Hawkins. David R. Hawkins. Spiritual teacher. You can find him. We won't take a break. Okay, Brent Beeson is one of the chief devils that bedevils me. A horrific, vicious, violent, shit demon terrorist. But he's been with me for 6 years and we talk. He always says you're not supposed to talk, but you know, when I open my mouth and I breathe and the words come out, it's not me that's talking. Who's talking? I don't really understand. I don't understand, because even if I'm a serious spiritual student, and I have been for decades, there's lots more stuff that I don't know than what Brent Beeson is probably right, than what I think I know. Because in addition to being a first-class evil fucking terrorist devil, he has all kinds of spiritual knowledge. A lot of stuff he got from me, and I think he gets stuff from other places as well. Because as a first-class devil, he studies Uncle Screwtape. Did you never hear of Screwtape? Screwtape is one of the famous devils. Never heard of Screwtape? There's a book, Chronicles of Narnia, by C.S. Lewis. A lot of people heard of that, movies and books and stuff. Well, Brent Beeson, the devil, is not Screwtape, but he's like Screwtape when he's in a certain mood. Sometimes he's in a mood where you can mention the word Screwtape and it's not even going to go and enter his ears, because he goes into a trance. I think Clancy is even better at going into trances. King Clancy is Brent Beeson's partner in devilry. Clancy does go into a fugue state. That's what Beeson, I think, was it you, Beeson? Somebody said that's what it is. Because it's just not, I don't know, they just go quiet and they just become vicious and violent. Horrific. At this particular moment, Beeson isn't doing Armis, and Clancy is trying to figure out if he's going to choke me to death. Because they are. I'm not kidding. I mean, even when I smile and making a joke out of it, it's black humor, because they really do intend on me being dead. I know. Over and over again. So, Devils Anonymous. Well, alcoholic, can't stop drinking, so Devils Anonymous. I guess what you're going to need to have are some devils that have stopped deviling but are well-known devils to go and lead the troops. Or maybe, I don't know, maybe nobody's been there, and I don't know. Maybe somebody goes by the Alcoholics Anonymous building and farts or something to see what the reaction is going to be, because there's got to be a lot of fear and trepidation. Because I think that's the way it is. Admitting that you're, a diseased person, you're an alcoholic or whatever, I mean, that's a big thing for a human ego to admit that it's been defeated by booze. But that's the first step in recovery, is to say, booze defeated me. If you're in that situation, in the last video I said maybe you want to burn it out, but just because Osho said that you can burn out your sex drive by having massive orgies every day, I don't know if that's going to work for everybody. So we have to have more than one way of getting around these addictive behaviors like sex addiction, alcohol addiction, drug addiction, addiction to narcissism, addiction to gluttony. Glutton is somebody who it's not just eating food. A glutton could be a glutton of money. Everybody knows there's certain people who are called tightwads. In other words, the first person to go to a free buffet of food and pig out and then take 3 bags of food home with them, and then that person, they never get back. It's called the free rider problem in economics. How do you get around this problem? Well, all these economics are based upon how to manage egoic-minded humans. And Eckhart Tolle, Tolle, in his book The Power of Now, teaches you about the human ego and what to do about it. So you can check on him on YouTube or in his books. So anyways, Terrorists Anonymous, because, I don't know, everybody under 539 on the scale, 539 and under, this is a vicious, violent attack. I mean, it's funny and not funny. Is it funny for you? If I can get a smile out of it, it's worth it for me. What's the question, BC? Oh, Devil's Anonymous. So everybody that's not making the grade to pass, you need 540 out of 1,000 on the scale of human consciousness to pass Earth School. You're a devil, because you do evil. You're born in sin, because sinners miss the mark. And if you hit the target, you'd already be in heaven. And you're not. You're lucky. You're not in hell. You're in purgatory, which is often very hell-like. But in purgatory, there's also some heavenly-like places too. And there's a hell of a lot of devils here, but there are some beautiful souls as well. But this is not heaven. This is purgatory. Everybody on planet Earth is living in purgatory. And the Roman Catholic is going to tell you, because you're not good enough to get into heaven, where life is a breeze. Really, are you not sick? I don't know, maybe you're unhealthy and you're enjoying it, but once you get to be a certain age, and then, the body aches creep up, and you get really tired of egoic people in your life, because you want somebody authentic and real. In the Course in Miracles book, it's called actually A Course in Miracles. It said only love is real. So, if you're unconditional love is 540. If you're under unconditional love, it means you got at best conditional love, which is a control mechanism. And that's devilish and demonic. So you can't go to heaven if that's what you believe in. And you can't stay in purgatory. So the only place you're going to go is the lake of fire. And, if you really want to get a sense of the lake of fire, then go get your lighter out, and light the tip of your finger. You don't want to do that, but because it's hot and painful. So why aren't you doing everything in your power to raise your consciousness so you go to 5D earth heaven instead of being scorched and terrorized forever by what you put out? Your karma. Your karma is you didn't bother focusing on the only important thing in your lifetime. And that's getting the hell out of purgatory. And if you're not interested in getting out of purgatory, then by default, you're going to the lake of fire. And once you're there, you're never getting out. Because this is the last chance cafe here at purgatory. It is I know you're going to say, well, reincarnation, I know, but that was in the past. And the past is the past and the past. And everything has changed. Because it's harvest time under the law of one. And if you don't know Love One, then Aaron Abke, ABKE on YouTube, has got a great website on it. You go and look. Because these days of, saying, well, I'm just going to reincarnate or whatever, no more. Because it's harvest time. Harvest of souls. And if you got a soul, you first get your soul when you get to 200 on the scale. Dr. Hawkins, it's all Dr. Hawkins stuff. I don't know anything about it. I'm just repeating him, but he says you get the etheric brain at 200. Under 200, your brain works differently. More like a reptile. So the reptilian people, the reptilian humans, they're reptilian on the inside and human looking on the outside. But their brains don't work the same as people at 200 and higher, according to Dr. Hawkins, and his muscle testing and him talking to God. And then as you go higher and higher on the scale of human consciousness, the way the mind works and the body works, it changes too. As you go up higher and higher, I mean, it's a change. When you go in the scale of human consciousness, things are a certain way, but you move up one point, and many things can change in the way things work and organized it within your internal workings of you. All the same, and if you're not at unconditional love 540, you've flunked. And, most people have at least 75 years on the planet in order to work out their horrible karma and figure out that they are a sinner and that they need to let go of their ego so they can be a soul-based person, S-O-U-L, rather than an ego. Ego is monkey mind. Soul is through your heart. And if you've clogged your heart with evil, you have to rip all that evil out of your heart. You'll be here for 10 years for some people. Well, the other thing is you can just go and face it head on. If you think that you really have a black heart and you just think that you are perpetually cruel to other people and you don't seem to be able to stop it, then there's problems with your system. And you could try the I am affirmations. I don't know if it's going to work for you, but that's another spiritual technique that might work for you, especially if you got strong intentions that you don't want this anymore because you're really in fear that all of your devilry is going to bring you into the lake of fire and you're never going to have an opportunity to leave. And that's the way it's presented to us in the Bible. So you might just say, I am truth. And put that in your heart chakra. I am truth. I am truth. My heart is truth. My heart is truth and only truth. Only truth. Only truth is in my heart. Only truth from my soul. Only truth from God. Only truth from higher consciousness. And then what should happen, if you really do have the intent, because you don't want to go to the lake of fire, because that's what you're thinking. My intention is to stay the fuck out of the lake of fire. My intention is to stay the fuck out of the lake of fire. My intention is to stay the fuck out of the lake of fire. My intention is to stay the fuck out of the lake of fire. Do that as many times as you want. I am the truth. And that's how you do it day after day. Write it down. Put it, tape it to your bathroom mirror. Because you got to keep reminding yourself that you did set the intention. You got to keep reminding yourself that how many every years you've been in this lifetime and previous lifetimes where you think you really weren't a very good person. You got to overcome those tendencies over and over again, which means every day you got to renew yourself as a spiritual person and not a materialist consumer. Because a lot of the stuff that you're used to is pure ego. And when you really intend to change so that you don't go in the lake of fire, a lot of the things that you've been doing over the years are coming up for, got to release that, release that, release that. A lot of shit that you used to do, or people you hung out with, or places you used to go, or favorite things that you used to do, favorite foods or whatever, because the meat eating has got to go. And the booze drinking has got to be winnowed down to an occasional treat or something, but not a big drunk. Maybe like, with me it's like 2 sips of beer. I don't want it anymore. I like the first sip and the second sip I don't like. But I used to drink lots and lots of beer. I don't know, 8 beer in a night. 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 8 Maybe a couple shots. Whatever. I've been there, babies. I've been there. So, was I ever? No. But I was a heavy, heavy drinker. No heavier than, there was a lot of people that could outdrink me. That's for sure. But for my frame, 175 pounds, you could consider me an alcoholic for decades. So it was my spiritual journey that brought me out of booze? Yeah. So it's just the spiritual journey. I didn't want to be an alcoholic. And even though I was drinking and drinking, there's parts of me that's like, I know. Because I wanted to have fun. And the drinking went with fun. And then the drinking was no more fun. Because this old body doesn't like to puke. And the booze is just too toxic for it. Can't drink anymore. Does that have something to do with things like that? Yeah. Yeah, because the body itself knows that booze is poison. You know the horrible hangovers that you get. It's poison. It's toxic. Alcohol is pure poison. We shouldn't drink it. So, Devil's Anonymous, those are a couple of little tricks that you can try. Because it's either going to be 5D Earth, heaven on earth, or it's going to be the lake of fire. And this version of planet Earth is not going to be available for us anymore. So, pick your choice. And once you choose, that's it. It really is. It really is. I mean, if you choose to be a devil, then you go to the lake of fire and you never get out. And if you choose to be an angel, you can never go back to being a devil. It's a strange story because, well, it's just what I get. What I get now, once you've thrown away the keys to controlling your body, your soul takes back the keys to devilry. It says, you don't want to devil anymore. You don't want to be an alcoholic anymore. You don't want to go to the lake of fire forever and ever in excruciating, excoriating, burning, being burnt by napalm for trillions of years. Is that what you want? You know what napalm is? It's gelled gasoline on fire. They used it in the Vietnam War. It was a horrific weapon. Apocalypse Now, that movie, you could watch that and see napalm in action. You want a guy hit? Do you really want to get hit by a napalm? Because that's what it's going to feel like in the lake of fire. But I don't want nothing to do with that. Are you insane? Some devils are so insane, it's like, I don't fucking care. I'm going to devil. I'm going to Brent Beeson, the devil's like that day after day. King Clancy's like that too. Why? No one can understand a devil's mind. They're completely insane. There's no logic, there's no reason. He understands logic and he can do logic and reason. Limitations of it, maybe, he says, but in the end, his logic and reason doesn't stop him from deviling, which means he's going to the lake of fire. He's deviling me right now, all the time, constantly deviling me. Devil may care, they don't care about their future. So, you know, the penalty of torturing them, they think that we're torturing them by putting them in the lake of fire. No, it's their bad karma, their actions that put them in the lake of fire, and that's what will manifest from their evil. It goes around, comes around. So for Devils Anonymous, you got to get honest. You know, start off with these things, and then you got to get honest. Because there's things that are come up, and you're going to say, you know. But that will be your process. But every process has got to start with the first step. And the first step isn't watching the video. The first step is taking the information from the video and pursuing it on your own as a serious spiritual student. If you want to go to heaven. If you want to be a lazy fuck and go to the lake of fire, remember, get your lighter out and just get the end of your pinky hot. And then redecide on that. Redecide on that item.